Okay. Again, everyone who's just joining us on the call, my name is Amy Truesdell. I'll be the moderator for today, and I appreciate you taking the time to join us this afternoon. I would like to, if you could, please just have you type in the sidebar if you can hear me. If you can hear me, let's go ahead and just type in that our audio is good. Great. Okay, we got some feedback. That's wonderful. Thank you. And we should all be able to also see on your screen, creating new business opportunities every day with online classified advertising. Can we all see that on the screen as well? Perfect. Okay, so it looks like everything is on track here. Okay, so for today's call, we do have two hosts that will be on. We have Mike Kowalski of Automated Marketing Solutions, and we'll bring Mike on the line. We're going to bring on Rick Brash as well. So Mike, are you with me?
I am. Amy, how are you doing today?
Great. Great, thank you. Yourself?
I'm doing just wonderful. And nice to see you guys again. We have a great, looks like Amy, we have a great show up rate. A lot of people registered, probably more than a lot this year. Must be a hot topic.
I think so.
So, well, let's see. Rick, are you there as well?
Hi, guys. How's everyone doing?
Hey, Rick.
We're doing great. How are you doing, Rick?
I am chomping at the bit, Mike, ready to go. I'm good. I'm doing really well.
Well, Rick, we got a lot of content-rich training material here. I mean, when you suggested a few weeks ago that we do a webinar on the free online classified ads, and specifically Craigslist, and a lot of the changes that they're making or have made about their policies, I thought this would be, you know, a good opportunity to do this. And thanks for coming out and do this training.
Oh, my pleasure. Reality check. A lot of us over the years have used online classifieds to generate leads. And in the last few months, particularly since just before Christmas, Craigslist, probably the most popular classified out there that so many of our friends and members use, made a change to their policy in the real estate section on Craigslist. And the changes were pretty straightforward. First of all, they took away hot links from the ad. So you can't link a picture in, you can't have a hot link in the ad. And then at the end of December into January, they took out our privilege of putting a domain name in the ad. So now if you build a Craigslist ad and you put a domain name in that ad, your ad is removed. And Craigslist has, you know, their monitoring software. They look at the algorithms and they check every ad that's posted, and if it doesn't meet with the rules and the regulations, you're gone. And a lot of our members, Mike, have been very exasperated with the situation because, let's face it, Craigslist has been a fairly good way for our members to generate online leads over the years. And now that it's not cooperating the way we're used to, there's some frustration out there. So, you know, you and I were chatting about this the other day, and as you and I know, Mike, we already have a solution for that. We just thought it would be good to invite all of our members back for a webinar and remind them that the Automated Marketing Solutions hotline is a great answer to this situation that exists at Craigslist. So that's where this whole idea of a webinar came from. And for those of you that are Quantum Leap members, you've all heard of Automated Marketing Solutions before. You've met Mike, you've met Amy at the super conferences. You've seen their booth, you've seen their presentation. You've heard Craig really extol the relationship that he's built with this company over the years. And I've had the same relationship with you in the last 15 years. And as I'll say it, the thing with Craig and working with AMS is the technology is sound. And I mean that sincerely. I do have a great working relationship with AMS, but you know, one of the reasons I have that is I'm so sold on their product, and I'm so sold on the hotline solution that they've perfected. There isn't another format in the industry like the one that Craig and Mike built. And then Mike has taken it upon himself to bring an absolute quality technology product to the table for all of you to take advantage of. He's coupled that up with a marketing library, a complete collection of pre-recorded pre-recorded scripts that enable us to get busy with this technology, sorting and sifting, creating leads practically out of the box. And that, I have to tell you, Mike, that hasn't changed over the years. I mean, anybody that becomes a customer of yours gets access to the information practically immediately. So my hat's off to you, Mike. Over the years, you've created all kinds of client relationships with realtors, who in turn have just sung praises about your product. So we thought it would be really good to review how that great product that you built, the great script library that you've included, can really help our members get busy again working on that Craigslist scenario. So that's where all this came from. So we should just leap right in, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, sure, great. I just want to mention, Rick, and thanks for the comments, that near the end, we're also going to show, we're going to have an interactive live demo right near the end, so you can really understand and be included in this lead generation and the experience of the prospect coming from these classified ads, and we'll get into that near the end of the call. So have your smartphones ready if you have them. If not, you can call in, and we'll get into that near the end. Okay, Rick,
that's true.
Dive right into it.
That's true, because you've made some enhancements recently, Mike, that really take advantage of technology as it exists in 2014. So you're right. I'll show everyone at the end how that works.
Well, absolutely. I mean, as you know, Rick, a lot of people are using these smartphones now, and there's more smartphones out there than toothbrushes, believe it or not.
Yeah. So
a lot of the your prospect buyers and sellers will be using these phones to buy or sell homes. So we've integrated our 800 technology into this mobile enhanced feature. We'll get into that and actually show you the value and the benefits it is both to the agent and to the prospect.
The prospect as well, right. Okay, so let's start here. For those of you who are on the call with us today, the webinar with us today, a vast majority of you are Quantum Leap members. You are working with Craig at any one of the levels of his company, whether it's the Platinum or the Diamond, or working with me and Craig in the Inner Circle stage, or maybe you're a coaching member or a Gold member. You're all familiar with this screen, and really, for us to get a clear understanding of where we want to be today, it falls into the first two categories. We want to be really adept at, as I put on the title page, creating opportunity. And we do that by becoming a good lead generator. And the way you become a good lead generator is by really being aware of the local market conditions and creating relevant marketing for those conditions that includes an overwhelmingly powerful call to action. And for today's conversation, the call to action is getting your prospects to call the hotline so your technology can do what it's really good at, and that is this, sifting and sorting those prospects. And as soon as they call in to your hotline robot, that sifting and sorting process begins. So today's call, today's material really falls in to the first two categories of that automatic reverse prospecting system that you are learning to build through your association with Craig. But there's a couple of things that have to go with this. For those of you who are not Quantum Leap members, who are guests of Mike today, who received an email invitation to come on to our webinar, I want to share this with you. And this may go contrary to what you currently believe in, but for today's webinar, I just want you to stay the course with me, because this will make sense as we go through this material. And by the way, for those of you that are tight on time, we'll try and have this done inside of 60 minutes or a little bit less. So I promise not to take up your whole afternoon. But look at this on the screen now. The real reason to run an ad, the real reason we go to market with advertising in our business is to get prospects to simply take advantage of what it is you're offering. Now, that's a little bit different. Lead generation for marketing is not the traditional teaching that real estate people give us. In fact, they tell us that if we get our name out there, people will call. The traditional real estate marketing today for realtors is usually based on one of two things. It's either image advertising, where an agent extols the benefits of how great he is or what he does, or we simply advertise a listing and we laundry list all the features of that property, hoping that we can attract someone to buy the property because a feature is there that they need. So we interview agents all the time. We spend a great deal of time interviewing agents, and both of those two marketing concepts clearly don't have a strong return on investment. They're not great at generating leads into an agent's business model. So today you may see some things on the webinar that are a little bit different than what you may be expecting. You know, what should we do online to become good lead generators? How can we take what the prospect needs and turn that into a lead generation strategy? That's what we're all about today. So let's look at some basics. Let's dive into this and let's give you guys some basics. Lead generation is most effective when prospects feel as if they can get their inquiries answered without feeling threatened by an agent. Now, this is why online lead gen works so well, or why it can work so well. So you're going to see a lot of things today in our presentations that are not agent-centric. Typical real estate advertising about an agent, the theme of the ad is generally the agent or the listing. Two things that have very narrow appeal. In fact, I'd go so far to say, Mike, that if we set ourselves up as gatekeepers for information, if we make it so the prospect has to go through us as real estate agents to get their questions answered, it's fair to say that we will diminish our return. And the reason, and don't be mad at me for this, don't send me emails later saying that Brash was dissing the industry. I'm not doing that. The reality of the day is prospects are not looking for a realtor. And that's a cold, hard fact we have to bring to our marketing strategy. I got 100 examples. The one I really like is when you go looking for a car, how many of you are guilty of going car hunting on Sunday when the dealerships are closed? Well, why would we do that? Well, the reason is we don't want to be bothered by a salesperson. We'd like to see the inventory, check out the window sticker, see all the features, and then make some decisions without being influenced by a real estate agent. Well, that's relatively predictable behavior with prospects who are thinking of buying or selling. The majority of them are what? They're on a fact-finding mission. They aren't ready yet to involve an agent. So why argue with that? Why change the normal routine of events in 2014? The internet has created much of that these days because so much information is available that people can get questions answered without having to engage the services of an agent. And no, that's why if you advertise online, there's a right way and there's a wrong way to generate leads. And that's what this is all about. Not selling yourself, not hoping like hell you'll get your listing sold, generating leads from qualified buyers and sellers. So let's have a look at some examples. And maybe this will help you see what I'm talking about if you're not used to this type of lead generation. So here's a typical ad. Now I have the rare privilege of spending a lot of time talking with agents all over North America, reviewing marketing and seeing marketing when I'm on the road. Here's a real typical ad that you might find in any classified ad section in any newspaper in North America. And I just happened to choose a house from the Denver market. And so for those of you in the South, that white fluff in front of the house and on the roof, we call that snow in the northern part of the continent. So if you were in Florida or Texas or Arizona, obviously we'd have a different picture. But let's look at the ad. Here's an ad for a property in Denver that this agent, Herman Jensen, is really hoping he can get sold. And I know that if I open a newspaper anywhere in North America, I can find this ad replicated in its format 1,000 times every single day. Affordable, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, large lot, newer windows, 1,350 square foot, close to school, new roof, new paint, new carpet, a laundry list of features that this agent, Herman Jensen, has put in the ad, hoping and hoping that one of those features will create a call. Hi, Herman, this is John. I saw your ad for the house at 1,350 square feet. When can I see it? Herman wrote the ad hoping he'd get that call. Now, when we interview agents consistently, and we do this every day, every week in our world, agents tell us that this type of marketing is not getting enough calls. And if you don't believe me, look around and see the attrition rate in our industry. Agents are dying on the vine. Even in a great market, our attrition rate is embarrassingly high. And the reason is they don't generate leads. What if the person reading this ad is not looking for a big house that's 1,350 square feet? What if the person looking at this ad is only qualified to 275? What if this person just doesn't like the ad? Okay, what if the house style turns them off? What if the picture turns them off? Poof, gone. Okay, the reason? This ad has a very narrow appeal. It's one house, one agent, one price, one phone number. And if one of those things, and all the features, if one of those things doesn't appeal to the prospect, the narrow appeal takes over, and as I said before, poof, they're gone. So you're thinking to yourself, well, okay, Brash, now what? If this ad is not going to generate leads for me, what kind of ad is going to generate leads? Well, here's one. And for those of you that spend time with Craig, you know he's the king of the classified. So here's an example of a classified ad that actually has wide appeal. And the reason is this ad, in the same section as the other one, draws the buyer in because look at the offer. The offer is for a free list of properties under $300,000, and the call to action is very strong. The prospect simply has to log in to affordablehomeslist.com or take a minute with their cell phone or any phone, call the 1-800 number, kick in that code 5129 when they're prompted to do that, and they hear a pre-recorded message which simply tells them how to order their list. Now, you're thinking, well, this is new, this is cool, this has some great potential in my marketplace. It sure does. We've done this for years. Craig taught me to do this back in 2000. And I went from running ads like the one on the left to ads like the one on the right, and my lead generation went through the roof. And the reason? The ad is not threatening. It's not about me as an agent. The appeal is wide because the prospect can get exactly what they're looking for. A list of properties. If you look at the caption, lovely homes, quiet streets, great neighborhoods, all areas, all under $300,000, this ad has appeal. So 3, 4, 5 to 1, we get a request on our hotline, or we get a login to our landing page, and we create the request for the list. Okay? Lead generation 101. A compelling, relevant ad, a definite and compelling call to action, and when they get to where they're going, either online or to the hotline mailbox, they hear or read something completely in line with the ad that has driven them there. So that's direct response marketing at its finest, a great example that I want, again, everyone just to chew on as we go through this. Now, what we try and teach agents to do is to create for themselves a multi-layered marketing approach that uses those direct response components. And if I had a choice, and if I could work with everybody on the call today, I would have your business, in terms of lead generation, looking something like this. Now think about this for a minute, all right? I've highlighted here 5 or 6 mediums that you could easily use to create leads with direct response marketing like I just showed you. Now, if you just think about this, just do a little bit of math. Let's say you take 3 mediums locally. 2 of them are online, 1 of them is offline. And let's say you've got 3 marketing campaigns running in each of those mediums 24/7, 365. So 3 times 3 is 9 ads running every single day. And remember, those ads need to be relevant. What if each ad contributes to you 1 lead a day?
Right.
Hello? What if each ad contributes 1 lead a day? Now do some math there. So there's 9 leads a day that you may not have right now. And you see, that's how direct response marketing works. And if we can help you create that multi-leveled marketing approach, we take away the problem that most agents have of not having enough people to work with. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a process and a formula here because we also have to bring some conversion skills to the table. That's the subject of another call. But if we can get agents to build a marketing response that looks like this, a marketing strategy that looks like this, we solve every agent's #1 problem, and that is, who do I work with this week? So today we want to focus on some online strategies, all right? Right now we're fielding all kinds of emails and all kinds of inquiries as to what can we do online? How can we make our online presence better? So we thought we would focus solely online and to show you how to not worry about the changes that have come down the tubes lately. So talking classifieds. Classified, less branded marketing. We're all familiar with what a classified looks like in the newspaper. If you're not, go grab your morning paper, go to the back, and you'll see where all the lawnmowers are for sale and cars are for sale and houses are for sale and the personal ads. That's the classified section. Most newspapers have a classified real estate for sale section. So we're all familiar with what that looks like. And as I've shown you already, there's a right way and a wrong way to generate leads with your local newspaper. But what about online? Well, really, online classifieds are no different than the classified we run offline in a classified newspaper ad. Okay, all we're doing is taking it online. In fact, many newspapers have an online sister site that feature the same ad online that you've paid them to run offline in the printed copy. And there's a number of them, and I've just put a few examples on the page of some of the more well-known ones that many of you work with. But if all of you do a Google search when we're done today and just check houses for sale or classified houses for sale locally, you might find there's 2 or 3 local classified sites that exist right now where prospects go looking for houses for sale. That's where you want your ads to be. So here's the example of Craigslist. If you were going to run a lead generation style ad on Craigslist, you do it like this. So here's the Craigslist page, and I just pulled up the Toronto page. You'd go to housing, and then you go to real estate for sale, and that's where we recommend you run your ad. Now, some of you are sitting there thinking, well, shouldn't I run my ad for a list of properties under real estate services? And my response to that is always the same, no. And the reason is, as we discussed already, the typical prospect is not looking for a realtor. And I think all of your ads for lead generation should be in the real estate homes for sale section. And for those of you in Canada who are on our webinar today, here's a really popular site that we all use called Kijiji. Kijiji in Canada is the equivalent of eBay classifieds in the U.S. So this is owned by eBay, and this is what we use in Canada for our national site. Most cities in Canada, just like Craigslist, have a page, and there's the real estate section. There's houses for sale. That's where you would run your ad. Okay. Now, for those of you who are Quantum Leap members, you have access to much material in the coaching website, and you should be consulting with that on a regular basis. As well, we do our ad clinic every Friday where we help our members improve their ads by looking at them, by critiquing them, by helping you, change the format a little bit so they will work in places like Craigslist and Kijiji. So let's start. Let's figure this out. How should an ad work on one of these classified sites? And I'm just using these 2 examples, Craigslist and Kijiji. It all starts by us creating a headline. And I simply have to say that this is crucial. The headline in your ad is a small part of what you're doing, small distinction, but it has huge effects on how effective your ad is going to be. I didn't say that right. It has a huge bearing on how effective your ad is going to be because the headline's job is to simply get the reader into the ad. And I want everybody to get that. The headline's job is to sell the ad. And in this case, when you're online, create the click. So looking here, the first thing prospects see when they come to the pages of real estate for sale, Craigslist or Kijiji, are those 2 pages there. All right, so I just pulled those off to show you the typical looking headline marketing that goes on at Craigslist and Kijiji. And here's kind of what they look like. And they're kind of all the same. Area, maybe address, square footage, bedrooms, price, blah, blah, blah. In the eyes of the prospect going through them, it's all white noise. It's all the same. There's nothing compelling about the headline that really grabs the attention of the prospect. So, first consideration when you create an online ad that is headline driven is make your headline more compelling than anything else on the page. Put that in your notes. The headline is the crucial consideration to getting eyeballs into your ad. So here's some examples. Here's just some examples of things beyond what people normally see on Craigslist. Okay? And everything here is a compelling headline. And this type of headline, the one that's emotionally driven, generally gets a click and a visit into your ad. So I call it a compelling headline. Now let me share with you an example. This is a member that I've worked with who lives in Toronto. And we worked on an ad for him, about, I don't know, maybe 3 months ago. He sent me this ad, and he let me know that it had been up for some time. My memory, when I put this together yesterday, my memory said this ad had been up for about 48 hours. And you'll notice here's the headline, Attention Renters, Detached House Less than $1,600. And you'll notice that headline generated some visits. 53 visits into his ad. Now this ran in Toronto, and I'm going to suggest the audience for this ad was probably around 2 million people. And I'm not 100% positive of that, but it's a pretty good audience in the GTA. So he sent me a note and said he got some visits, he got a few people, but the ad had not been effective at generating some leads. And I really like this guy. We've worked together a lot. He's a really hard-working guy. So he said to me, would you mind helping me with the ad, Rick? So I went to work and I rebuilt the ad. And this is the example, or this is the ad that I rebuilt. And before I sent it to him, I actually ran it in my market. And you'll notice at the top there, you'll see it says Calgary. Okay, Calgary. Now, Calgary is about half the size of the market that he lives in. And so there's my headline. Help, huge discount, must be sold by January 31st. Okay, so it's 5 months ago. Must be sold by January 31st. Help. There's the headline. That's the first thing that prospects saw when they went into the homes for sale section. But what I really want you to see is this. Look at the visits. The visits were over 200, and it ran about 12 hours in my test. So the headline was compelling enough to create 200 visits in less than a day, and I think that bears witness to the fact that the headline is absolutely important. And so I sent this to our member after I had tested, and he ran it, and his lead generation went up exponentially because he got a better headline. He also created a more compelling reason in the ad to ask for more. And we're going to show you about that in a minute. But I just want to show you the value of a headline. You see the difference? We have 53 visits on this page in a 2-day period with that headline. We made some adjustments. We brought an urgency to the table. We brought some compelling stuff to the table for the prospect to read, and the visits followed suit. Hey, guys, guess what? The more visits to your page, the more leads you will create. It's just straight, unadulterated math. So it's a numbers game. So let's get people into your ad. Now, from the headline, we move into the body of the ad. Now, here's some rules that I think everybody should follow when it comes to creating a good lead generation ad. And you'll notice here that we're kind of going a different direction than what the typical ad looks like in Craigslist or Kijiji. So there's a few things I want you to put in the content of your ad to make it a better ad than what other agents are doing. Okay? First of all, we have to be aware of the new ad requirements. If we're talking Craigslist here, have to be aware of the new ad requirements. They are, the ad must be property specific. Okay? We're no longer allowed to redirect traffic away from the ad to a landing page. That's no longer allowed on Craigslist. Okay, so you can't put a domain name in the ad. See, these are the new rules. So that being said, every ad still has to have a distinct call to action. What does the prospect do to move forward and take advantage of the offer you've made in your ad? So that said as well, if the ad has to be property specific, then let's make sure the headline calls out about a screaming deal locally. And that's language I always use when we talk about advertising on Craigslist. Let your headline reflect a screaming deal that would really interest a prospect. Let there be a powerful urgency component in the copy of the ad that really creates an awareness of a situation the prospect wants to take advantage of. And let that be a very compelling reason to the prospect and just absolutely driving them to follow up the call to action, logging in or calling into your hotline. Now, some of you are saying, well, we don't put hotlines in online ads. Well, you should, especially on Craigslist now. You should. You should put a hotline number in the ad. Now, here's an ad that some of you may have worked with in the past. And this ad now, based on the new Craigslist rules, won't work. Okay? You might get it up for an hour, but once the algorithm picks up the new ad and checks it, it'll probably delete it. And the reason is, just look at it. Okay? As nice as it is, as applicable as it may be, let's say that this marketplace does have some distressed properties in the luxury price point. Even if it's relevant, this ad is still going to be flagged. And the reason, it's not about a house for sale. Okay? Look at the headline. Upscale distress sales, single family house. Distress luxury homes hot list, many vacant or abandoned, all must be sold in May. It's all correct. It's all right. But this format now isn't going to fly on Craigslist. You'll notice, too, we've inserted the headline correctly. We've inserted the body so it's compelling. We've even got a strong reason to call the hotline. Free pre-recorded ordering message. There's the number. List sent automatically. You don't have to speak to anyone. It's all fantastically compelling copy in an ad. The problem, it now breaks the rules at Craigslist. So, if this is what you've been doing, take this ad, this format, this method, move it into your local newspaper. And yes, include the picture. Move it into the paper where it's really going to work for you. But online, you're going to have to find a better way. So here's a better way, and here's how to get on the way to creating a better ad. So the first thing we've got is a headline, which could be better. So this was our member in Granada Hills, Northridge, California. And you'll notice his headline, which was very good at the time, lowest priced repos, Granada Hills and Northridge. So I would change that headline to read, lowest priced repo in Granada Hills. See the difference? Now the ad headline looks as if it's about a house for sale. Notice in the ad, the caption, seller says help, sell quick. Why not even make that your headline? Beautiful rancher, double garage, safe private yard, vaulted ceilings, stainless appliances, granite counters, maple cabinetry, no traffic location, not bank owned yet. Now look at this. We've added some urgency to the ad. Number three of 14 on the Granada May pre-foreclosure list. Get your personal copy of the list. Call now, and we insert the hotline instead of the URL. Now, if your ad is strong enough, if your headline is strong enough to get eyes in the ad, if your ad is compelling enough because it's got wide appeal, guess what the natural byproduct of those two things is? We get a call to our hotline. And even though we're going to get less leads because now the person has to pick up a phone, dial the number, whatever, some phones you can, or some computers, you can click over that, just hit the button, and automatically links to your phone, whatever it takes. We'll probably get less leads. But here's a prospect who's going to call a phone number, who's going to listen to a very compelling pre-recorded script, who's going to tell you where to send the list, along with their name and anything else you ask them. This is going to create for you a really good quality lead. And I'll go so far as to say that when we get really good quality prospects calling our hotline, it isn't all that difficult to create a high percentage of A-grade leads. That isn't difficult. And when you call an A-grade lead back and use the universal callback script and use that meaningful conversation for the purpose of getting an appointment with that lead, you'll find that this formula, this method, is conducive to success. And by the way, all this is a result of a free ad, an absolutely free ad. Let's look at another example, okay? And here's why this works. Sorry, I forgot to hit the button. Here's why this works. The ad is non-threatening. It's not about the agent. It fits into that, what I call the WIFM component of the reader. WIFM, for those of you who don't know what that means, that's what's in it for me. And that for the buyer is what? A hot deal on a house for sale and a selection of them if they read the ad. It lets the prospect raise their hand safely, and everyone knows how to use a phone and likes the idea of a pre-recorded message so they won't have to talk to anybody. That's why this method for years and years and years has worked so well. Here's another one. Now this one combines all the stuff that makes sense. We've got a headline that probably grabs the attention, okay? Mountain Vista Golf Course home, offer needed ASAP. They come into the ad and we give them a small caption about that property. The headline and the first part of the caption work together. Beautiful golf course location, gleaming hardwood floors, 2-car oversized garage, tree-lined quiet street, roaring fireplace, oodles of upgrades, order a fully loaded feature sheet. This home must be sold by June 15th. It's one of 5 on our golf course pre-foreclosure list. If this home doesn't appear to be what you're searching for, then order your personal copy of the list by simply calling, and again, the call to action clearly states that if they call that hotline number, listen to our pre-recorded message, which is also very compelling, we'll send them out a list. And boom, another lead has been generated. So the difference really is, if you follow this format of the ad, we've taken out the domain name and we've inserted something that everybody can use, a phone number. Now, some of you are thinking, well, I'm having troubles getting my 1-800 number into the ad with the new rules, and that's correct. I'm finding that in different zones around North America on different Craigslist pages for real estate, there's a varying degree of what's allowed and what's not allowed. So try this. Instead of putting the number 800, write the word 1-800, then put your phone number in, okay? Whatever we need to do, I just want you to put your hotline number in the ad as an alternative to the URL that you had in there before. And by the way, this isn't just you. Every agent who's using Craigslist, who's advertising a house, the narrow appeal format, has to follow these new rules. Here's another one. Now, everybody should have this campaign running in their marketplace. The Fixer-Upper campaign right now is an incredibly fantastic way to generate leads. Everybody should be running the Fixer-Upper campaign. And I say that because flip your TV on Saturday and Sunday and flip it over to HGTV. And what's every show on the weekends about? Almost every show on the weekends about on HGTV. Find them, fix them, and flip them. So I'm more than happy to help people find the Fixer-Upper. So here's an ad I would run in that Fixer-Upper category, 3099 duplex foreclosure. Here's one off a long list of heavily discounted Calgary Fixer-Uppers currently available. Right from the go get them, I'm letting people know that there's a list. A great opportunity for a project, a super deal to move into, partially finished basement, original hardwood floors. This is one out of 24 that need more than normal cosmetic work. Must be discounted heavily to get on this list. Oh, that's compelling. If you're looking for a home between 155 and 311 and want a list of Fixer-Upper foreclosures, simply go to, and there's your hotline number. Same formula. Drive traffic to your pre-recorded hotline message. And remember, let people know they don't have to talk to anybody because they don't want to talk to us. They simply want the information without being entangled by a real estate agent. So notice what I say there. List automatically sent, speak with no one. Okay? And the calls come in, send the list out, and follow up and create that face-to-face appointment. So here's that campaign I've helped many of you create. I call it the HGTV Fixer-Upper campaign. You look at the headline, HGTV type Fixer-Upper Handyman Special. You have no idea how many people are looking for that in your marketplace. And somebody who sees that thinks they're going to come into my ad and read about a house that needs work. And I let them read about a house that needs work. It's a diamond in the rough. It needs paint, flooring, doors, and landscaping. Mostly needs elbow grease and TLC. Great opportunity, price to sell fast, quick closing, financing easily arranged, blah, blah, blah. I've crossed out 11. There's 9 left on our Fixer-Upper must-sell list for August. And get your free list complete with pictures, addresses, and details. And you can see that I ran that ad last year. Quick free pre-recorded message, 1-800. There's my number, my ID code. And same thing I tell people. We'll automatically send you the list. You don't have to speak with anyone. Okay, that's compelling for a buyer. It's very compelling when they don't have to work through me to get the information that they need to move forward. So I guess the point that Mike and I really wanted to get across in today's webinar was get your headline, your ad body, and your hotline all working together, because it will produce leads for you like you wouldn't believe. And, you know, this is not new. Inserting your hotline into a marketing campaign is something I've been doing since 2000 when I started to work with Craig and when I first met Mike way back when. And this technology has come a long way. Mike has improved it. He's made it very compatible with smartphones and all the things going on today. But my encouragement is just take advantage of the tools that Craig supplied for you a long time ago. And the reason we forged this relationship with Mike is because it works so well. And it's very, very affordable. When someone calls your hotline, here's what you get. You get a message. It can be texted to you. It can be emailed anywhere you want it to come. Most of our members take this message right onto their cell phone. You'll notice everything is there, the number that generated the lead, the number from the person who called you, the script they listened to, the date everything happened, and notice number 5, which, by the way, is my favorite one, the fact that I have a voice message and it's 12 seconds long. All I have to do is click that one below it, retrieve my message now, and it's all set up so that message actually plays to me right on my smartphone if I choose to have it sent there. If not, it's emailed right to my iPad or my laptop or my desktop, and Zoom. I just click on it, and I listen to the message, and I can react accordingly. And I'm one of those guys that tries to get back to my leads as quickly as I can, because there is a shelf life with leads. And I have found over the years that my best quality leads that turned into the best clients came to me through my hotline. I've been a big proponent of the hotline technology for many, many years, because once you work with it and understand it and do it correctly, it generates leads for you seamlessly and easily. So you always hear me talk about this at super conferences, when I'm on with Craig, when we're doing sessions. I'm a real big believer in the hotline. Now, this is really cool. For those of you who are still suffering a little consternation because we've lost the ability to direct traffic from a Craigslist ad to a landing page, let me show you what happens now when a prospect calls your hotline. And let's just assume that because there's so many cell phones and smartphones out there, that that's what they used. As an example, I might have a prospect who's out on Sunday afternoon in a neighborhood where he wants to move to, see my for sale sign, and call my hotline number looking for further information on the property that I have listed, because I have that message out front of all my listings. For more information, use your cell phone, call now. I put a number and a 4-digit code on a sign, and they call. And they leave a message because I've offered to send them a fully loaded, full-color feature sheet. They tell me who they are, where to send it. They leave a phone number, an email, and an address, because that's what I asked for. And boom, the lead is created. As soon as they hang up from calling my hotline, this goes back to their cell phone. This is an automatic text message that is sent back to a cell phone from them calling my hotline. And notice what's there. it's a link on their cell phone which now takes them to a landing page. Now imagine you've been able to create calls into your hotline from your Craigslist ad. They call with their smartphone, they listen to your pre-recorded message, they hang up, click, and 5 seconds later, this shows up on their smartphone. All they have to do, as everybody knows, is touch the screen, and it takes them to a landing page. Now, guys, I'm not trying to go too fast here, but this is absolutely ingenious. Now, from a medium that no longer allows us to insert domain names in the ad, we have a huge heads up on our competition, because guess where we're bringing people? From the hotline, we're now bringing them into a specific landing page that works with the campaign at hand. Now this is really awesome. A few years ago, Mike put together for all of the members and all of our clients an 8-page collection of completely mobile-friendly lead capture landing pages that are designed to fit perfectly on the screen of a cell phone. And so there's a couple of examples of what they look like, and they also are very compelling on the computer. And I brought one up here. Here's what they look like on the computer. And Mike approached me a few years ago and asked me if I would mind recording the videos for these. And so, you know, hard to say no. When Mike asks, we go running. So there's what the prospect can see if they decide to use their computer in the process. But what really matters is that these are completely mobile friendly. They're full of compelling content, and once they've read through, we ask them to give us a little bit of information as to what it's all about, the project they're engaged in. Now, we've had them call our hotline. They might have left information there. For a second kick at the cat, we've had them log into your landing page, and again you get to try and get the information from them that includes what it is they're doing in their real estate project. So for every Craigslist lead, let me just summarize this. For every Craigslist lead that calls your hotline, you've got 2 powerful reasons for them to leave compelling, or for them to be compelled to leave information so we can create that lead. And this is really powerful stuff. And this has been available with the AMS for a long time. We've had this, Mike's had this going for a long time. We've worked with it for many years. For those of you who haven't done this, who are still a little bummed out about the changes at Craigslist, here is your solution right here. You can still get people onto a landing page. So here's a couple of examples of what they look like. My page on the left there is my home evaluation page. And later on, if you want to have a look at it, just write this down, calgaryhomeprices.com. Don't go there now. Let me get through this. You can have a look later. And there's my distressed property page on the right. And we'll send you some links to that as well. And these pages have been adjusted and changed to suit the day and suit what's going on. But it's a really great way to generate a lead. This is not a website. Most of you work with the Solution at Success website. I know that. This is not another website. This is just a collection of squeeze pages that just help you get the information from the prospect and use it as another way to generate leads. So for those of you not using the squeeze pages and the text back feature and all those things, my suggestion is get a hold of AMS right away and get this turned on with your AMS subscription. There's a couple of choices that you get to make. For those of you that are working with AMS, you need to call either Amy or Julie at the office and get this turned on. And here's the package that goes with the subscription with AMS you have now. They'll turn on the lead notification to you. They'll turn on the text alert to the prospect, and you can choose 4 of the 10 squeeze pages that are available. And it adds a little bit to your bottom line every month, but not very much. Another $97 to get all that working for you. And that works in conjunction with your USP property tree. For those of you that are not currently working with automated marketing solutions, who don't have the hotline technology working to generate leads in your business, first of all, I'll tell you that's a mistake, because this is a great way to generate leads. But here's For new clients, here's an offer you can take advantage of. Mike will give you the property tree, which is a branded presence which lets you highlight your listings. You'll get the lead notification to the agent. It comes with the text alert notification back to the prospect. And remember, that includes the link to the landing page. And the same thing, you can turn on 4 of the, I think it's 10 landing pages that we built. And it's all for $149 a month and a small activation fee. And you're probably thinking, well, how do I make this work? Well, just call them. Just call. Just call. 800-858-8889. Many of you know, I know that number by heart, but call that number, ask for Amy, ask for Julie, talk to somebody there and get this turned on. Even take advantage of their trial. Mike has a risk-free trial that lets you take everything, try it for 30 days. If that's not the answer, you just call them back, tell them to turn it off. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. They'll even refund you any money that you've spent, except for any minutes that you've used up. If you want to go online and do some research, there's the URL, quantumleaphotlines.com/Craigslist. And later on today, I think the gang's going to send you an email which lets you see the samples of the landing pages that you can choose from. It's really cool stuff, and I think everybody should take advantage of it. When you go to the landing page, this is what you'll see. There's 2 buttons. The top button is for existing clients. The bottom blue button is for the new clients that we just talked about. Click one of those buttons. You'll get all the information that you need, and I think you should get started right away if you want to continue working with Craigslist the way you have in the past. Now, when you get a minute, write this down. Here's the demo we talked about earlier. Write this down. 888-471-4953. And by the way, do this from your cell phone. If you have an iPhone or a Samsung phone, do it from your cell phone because you'll get the full impact of the demo. Make the call, and then when you get a chance, kick in ID number 1013. When the script starts, just hang up and watch what happens on your cell phone. And that alone should be worth the price of admission because you'll see how compelling this can be for the prospect who maybe didn't leave a message because he didn't quite hear what he wanted to hear, but still gets this back, clicks on the link, and goes to a landing page designed to squeeze the information out of him so that he can become a lead. And that's all about direct response, guys, and I want everybody to try the demo. So how are we doing on time? We've got about 10 minutes. Mike, are you there? We should take some questions, I think, because I did all the talking here, and I've probably manhandled the hour. I shouldn't have done it so much. But
I am,
I'm
Rick,
sure we have
and
some
a very
questions.
good job. And yeah, no, we've got some time, and I'm sure we've got some questions about this. Amy, is there any questions in the funnel that we could address?
Oh, yes. There's been a lot of interest kind of stemming out of this call, and I don't even know if we can get through them all today, but I was just going to say...
I tell you what, Amy, for any questions we don't get to, you can forward them to me. If it's a technical thing, you do them, but forward me the questions,
okay.
And I'll do my best to get as many answers out there as I can.
Okay. Or even better, Rick, we could probably formulate the questions and get answers and send them out, one to many, right? Get them all out to them, or talk to you, whatever they choose.
Yeah, one way or another, we'll get everybody's questions answered, either here or via email, or we'll post them somewhere that everybody can go and see them. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, Rick, just before we get into the first question, you mentioned there was a couple of ways in the call to actions to get the prospect to leave a trail, get for information, and there's actually a third way in the property tree hotline where we have that dial 0 feature. So when they call the number and they listen to the script or the message, yes, they can hang up, yes, they can leave a message, and you don't really need to hang up to get that alert, that SMS alert. It comes immediately while you're on the phone, while you're listening to the message. But you can also dial 0 to get that live, meaningful conversation. If they're compelled to speak to an agent, maybe on, there's a price change in the property or whatever, that's the third call to action or opportunity you can get the prospect to raise their hand to get a hold of you.
Yep, that's correct. So that's how I do it, Mike. In my message, when people first call my hotline, if they're calling on one of my listings, for example, I let people know that if they'd like to know the current price of this property, then press 0 now to be connected to my office. And that's, over the years, that's worked really well for us. So you're right, that's the third method. But for that hardcore prospect who's not looking for an agent at this stage, the two-step process that we've discussed today should generate leads for you easily, predictably, and over again.
Okay. Amy, do we have any questions?
Yeah. Now, some of them, I don't know if Rick, this is more geared towards outside of your expertise, but for example, one that Lenny had wrote in was, our local Craigslist in Orange County, California will not allow us to bold or change the font size of the phone number to make it stand out. Is there a trick to this?
Well, if you can go in there and try playing around a little bit with some HTML tagging. Like I said earlier, I'm finding right now that on different pages across the continent, there's a different set of formatting rules that many of our members are working with. You're just going to have to work with what you can do locally. The key really is when the prospect reads your script, it has to be compelling enough to create a call to action. And that's the point I want to make. In my marketplace here where I am in Calgary, Canada, I still can do a few things like that. I still can get the full 1-800 number in my ad. Some of you are even having troubles getting the 1-800 number in your ad. But it's one of those things we're going to have to work with. That's why I said earlier, sometimes you're going to have to write the word out, 1-800, and then your phone number after that. It's some of those little tricks we're going to have to do. But really, guys, all we can do is work within the confines of what our local page will allow us to do. And remember, Craigslist is just one site locally. It's just one. There's tons of other sites in most cities and most metropolitan areas and pretty much anywhere that allow us to run our lead generation marketing. So I know today we did sort of look at Craigslist and some of the changes, but hopefully everybody on the call today is using 3 or 4 different sites locally for their lead generation.
Another question was, someone was asking, do they actually have to have a listing in order to use the system?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You'll notice that the examples I used today appear to be about a listing, but we're more oriented around getting someone to ask me for my list of properties that I know are available. So I might highlight a really good screaming deal that I found on the MLS and let people know that I've also found 7 others. You just have to ask for the list. And that's going to take you a long ways down that lead generation road because of the wide appeal of the ad. The single listing in the ad is a very narrow appeal, as we discussed, and that will diminish your return. If you want to grow your return, you need to have a wide appeal in your ad, and that's the list of properties. If you're marketing for buyers, that's the list of properties that you've already found that match that specific category in your ad. The pre-foreclosures, the fixer-uppers, the abandoned properties, the vacated properties, the vacant properties with mortgage payments. I can come up with 50 of them. You just create the search in the MLS, highlight one, get people to ask you for a list, and move forward with lead generation.
Great. Another one that came through was just, you had earlier in the presentation popped up a slide that had a lot of different headlines on there that were recommended. Is that something that we're able to give to those people on the call today?
That's a piece that many of our coaching members have probably seen because that's some coaching material that we use. And I assume that a lot of our members on the call today were coaching members. If you don't have that, send a quick email to your coach, and he'll forward that. He'll forward that to you.
Okay. This one is from Sandy, and I tried to give my best answer, but I said we should probably take it to the expert. In the ad example that you were doing with the homes under 300,000, and you were offering a hot list for a specific area, when the caller enters the ID number on the 800 number, is the script that they should be hearing?
Well, how interesting is that? Because when you take advantage of the automated marketing solutions technology, you also get a pre-recorded library of scripts. And this is another reason why real estate members should be talking with Mike and Amy at AMS. You don't have to come up with that script. You don't have to sit there and scratch your head and pull your hair out trying to figure out what to say. It's all pre-recorded for you. The library contains about 30 scripts that are all pre-recorded. All you have to do is flip the script into a mailbox, and run the marketing campaign and generate the lead. It's all done for you. This hotline through AMS is a full turnkey solution for your marketing. All you need to do is click one of those two boxes on the page and take advantage of all the stuff that was done long before you came along. It's all been figured out. You just have to jump in, take advantage, and away you go.
Okay. This question is from Evelyn Rose, and she was saying, do you have a tool somewhere in the Craig Proctor program that helps with the creation or the HTML portion of these Craigslist ads?
If you send a note to your coach, there is an HTML document that we send all of our coaching members for sure. And it's pretty straightforward. Once you learn it, you'll never forget it. It's like riding a bike. But send a note to your coach. Tell them you're looking for the HTML tagging information for Craigslist, and they'll send it to you.
Okay. And Rick, how important is it to change the pictures of the houses in the ads?
Important.
Do your prospects notice that?
Yeah. So let's be realistic. You load an ad on Craigslist, and it's exactly what it calls itself. It's a list. And as more ads come on throughout the day, your ad goes down, 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 down the list. And I would suggest that once your ad probably gets to page 2 or page 3, it's not going to have as many eyeballs on it as good as the ad may be. And the simple reason is it's dating itself a bit. So at that point in time, I recommend you delete the ad, delete it back into your account or take the ad down, change the picture, and re-raise the ad when you can. And you may have to wait 48 hours to re-raise your ad, but I always change pictures. I always keep an ad fresh by changing pictures, and I recommend you do that as often as you can. Once an ad is built, it only takes a few clicks behind the scenes at Craigslist to reload your ad onto the list. But I always change pictures because I think that does a good job. And when you're running an ad that offers a list of properties, use a half a dozen house pictures. Use a half a dozen pictures that represent properties in that category in the local market that you're referring to. And again, that gives that prospect the feeling of selection when they come to your ad.
Rick, I think that really goes for the headlines as well. I know Craig and yourself has offered multiple headlines so you can test track the effectiveness of the click-through, right? Could you want to just go on a little bit about that?
Well, again, as I mentioned earlier, the job of the headline is to simply generate eyeballs into the ad. It has to be compelling. So if you've got a headline that you think was really good, but yet your visit rate to your ad was low, the first thing I would look at is my headline. Maybe it's too generic. Maybe it's realtor-centric. Maybe it is similar to everybody else's on the list. Change your headline. Don't be afraid to try something. Don't be afraid to get out of that common box and try something a little bit different that is not like everybody else's headline. Hey, what's the worst thing can happen? It doesn't get clicks. You just keep changing your headline, adjusting this, editing that. Pretty soon you'll have a headline that, boom, everybody sees it, and everybody clicks on it and lands in your ad. It's just a case of practicing a little bit, Mike, and understanding what you're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. I mean, you can have the great body ad of content there, but if it doesn't get clicked or opened, very similar to email marketing, which I train people that have compelling subject lines, have more than one, and track and measure the open rate of an email. Because if that email doesn't get open or if that ad doesn't get clicked, you can have the best ad or best content in the email. If it's not being seen by all the eyeballs, then what good is the ad? Then the job of the body of the email is to get clicked over to wherever the call to action is, the 800
create
number.
The traffic. Yeah, create the traffic. That's right.
Okay. Any more, Amy?
Yeah. So we have a question from Ali. It says, can you explain how your ad works saying that list automatically sent, speak with no one?
Sure.
So
when they call the hotline, they hear a pre-recorded message. The pre-recorded message reiterates what they read in my ad. And then at the end of my message, I simply ask for a mailing address, a name, and a phone number. And then I say, if you're thinking of moving in the next 3 to 6 months or inside of the next 6 months, please ask for list number 1. If you're moving in longer than 6 months, please ask for list number 2. Now that lets me sort the leads based on their moving time frame. They hang up the phone. The lead is generated based on what they said in their message. The message comes to my office, and we automatically fulfill every request. So as soon as a lead comes into my office, somebody takes that lead, pulls a half a dozen listings off the computer, the MLS system, that match the listings offered in the ad, and we send them out. Even before we talk to them, even before anything happens, the list is automatically sent every time we generate a lead. That's the policy in my office.
Now, Rick, when you added that short text message about recorded message, talk to no one, I think that boosted up your response by 5 or 10 times, right?
Oh, for sure. It's the same old story, Mike. If we think that people in the community are hard searching us out as realtors, we're only fooling ourselves. We're not the most loved breed in town. And I'm not going to argue about this, but we've proven it. When we can generate leads from a less branded or a not so agent-centric message versus the message that's all about how great I am as an agent, why does my less branded message generate 5 leads when my other one generates 1? And the reason, it's not about the agent. The typical prospect is not looking for an agent. We hate that. That bruises our ego as well-trained professional real estate agents. Sorry to bruise your ego. You start running lead generation that isn't about you, and you will see the leads come in, bottom line. We call it less branded marketing, and we teach all the agents in our coaching program how to get really, really good at that. And when you bring that to your business model, your lead generation goes up exponentially, through the roof, because you're out of the way, and people love that.
And I think the fact, Rick, too, and we've taught this for years and years and years, that we make it non-threatening. We'll make it available 24/7, where you can call that number any time and get the information you require, because it really is a process when you're buying or selling a home, and that's where the nurturing comes in, and we've tested this, that it does by far get a lot more clicks or calls.
For sure.
In the funnel, people raising their hand to request more information, so you can build that relationship up.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. This isn't new. I mean, our presentation today wasn't about branded versus less branded marketing. That's not new. Now we can do that in the future, or send me an email, rick@craigproctor.com, and I can send you some information about that and show you how to get tied into doing that correctly. But at the end of the day, if we can make your hotline work as practically a less branded entity in the community, people will treat it like an information library. They'll go there, they'll ask for what's offered, they'll wait for the mail to come, and that's how we've done it for years. And it works really, really well. It's not even a debate. It works better than anything else we do in a branded sense.
I see a couple of requests here from people about the mobile version, because even though it's not been really new for us, we've had it developed. They're just trying to understand the second or third attempt to get that information out. Listen, the best thing to do, guys, if you need more information on how it works, or you want a one-on-one with someone from our company, right now just type in the chat box on the right side of the GoToWebinar. Just type in that you want someone to call you, and we can just leave a number.
I should also mention too, Mike, that a lot of our members are going to wonder about the video and recording their own. Again, guys, one of the things we like to do is make tools available for agents that are simply turnkey.
Yeah.
So when Mike approached me a few years ago to work with him on this project, we recorded a set of videos that would work for anyone in any market.
Right.
You don't
and the ones we have now, Rick, are generic. We've had Jim Casey. Some people on the phone may know Jim Casey. He's recorded the four buyers and 4 sellers.
Right.
And so yeah, they are generic enough that you can use them. Or if you'd like to even have your own, or even put a different customized link to another website in the message, we can do that. So we're very flexible. It doesn't have to be these specific squeeze pages. It could be another one that you may already have. It's working well. Yeah, we can place that into the text that we send out to the prospect. So that's what I'm saying. If you have any questions, Rick, you want to put that screen up, that 800 number, and on the screen the number they can call, and or the website. There you go. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can call that number. Like I said in the chat, call you back. on that. That would be great. Let's take a few more. I think we're a little bit over our time, Amy, but we still have a lot of people on the line.
Yeah, and there's a question that's been popping up quite often here. A lot of people are curiosity seekers, and they want to know, Rick, if you actually are using a software to create your ads, or are you just going through an ad generator?
Oh,
well, no, it says ad generator cannot be changed.
Okay, so let's make sure we're clear. The ad generator at the coaching website lets you create a classified or a display ad exactly the way it should look in a newspaper. It lets you create it the way it should look. We built the ad generator at the coaching website because people would send me an ad that they've been working with. They'd send me a picture of the newspaper, and they'd say, Rick, Craig, my ad, it didn't work. And I'd get this email from people, this great big picture on my screen, and I'm hunting all over the place for the ad, and I can't find it. I call the agent back, and I'd say, well, thanks for the email, but where on earth is your ad? And he says, well, it's right there. It's column 2, 7th one down. And I come 2 columns over, come down 7, and there's an ad. And I've never seen this ad before. And it's nothing like anything we've ever done. It doesn't have a strong call to action. It doesn't really highlight the campaign correctly. Yet our member says, this is what you guys said I should do. So, that's not the way it should work. We want, there's a saying I often use, we want your French fries to taste like Craig's French fries. So we sat down, we had this meeting, and we created the ad creator. Now you build your ads exactly the way Craig used them. Now that ad creator takes away editorial freedom. And I didn't use examples from the ad generator today in my Craigslist ads, though you could. You can start with that verbiage and build on it from there. The verbiage and the call to action, the direct response component, is very powerful in those ads we build with the ad generator, whether it's a display ad or whether it's an editorial. Very powerful marketing, but not 100% suitable for the Craigslist format. So you take what you've learned, you take that verbiage, and you adjust it slightly to work in the Craigslist format. And I've been doing this a long time. I'm pretty comfortable sitting down and creating a campaign for any sector of the market where I work. And that's why we coach agents, is to help you get that heads up, that handle on creating effective ads. But initially, I would stay really close to the verbiage in the ad generator and let that guide you and let that generate leads for you.
And Rick, is
There's
the ad generator
a fair amount of people on this call that I'm seeing that are not coaches, and
yeah,
and some that are not members on this call that may have not understand everything we went through. Why don't you, there is a couple of events coming up for Craig. Maybe you can get into how they could participate in a couple of conferences that are coming up with Craig.
There's a few things we would like everybody to do, and that's think about our next upcoming super conference. We have a super conference. The next one's coming up in Toronto. If you'd like some information on that, log into craigproctor.com. The other thing you can do is if you'd like to take advantage of some weekly training, I do a webinar with our members every Thursday. Craig and I often do it together. And you can get information on that by going to theproctorprogram.com. And that will give you some insight into a program that Craig and I run called the Inner Circle. And that's where we give you these resources to work with. We also give you training every single week in terms of a webinar. And we have hundreds and hundreds of members in our Inner Circle program who start there and then come to the super conference. Really what I like to do is put everybody into the Inner Circle, get them started, get them generating leads, get the income started, and then we bring them to the super conference a couple of months later. And for anybody that goes to the Proctor program and does sign up for the super conference, we'll actually give you the Inner Circle program for free for the next few months. There's lots of opportunity, Mike, for people to get involved. You just have to make the effort.
In addition, like you mentioned, the craigproctor.com/events. If you go there, Craig also offers some free half-day training all across North America in your city. So just check out to see if he would be in that city, when he would be in your city. I know there's a whole lot of them coming up in California.
Yeah, we've got some coming up all over the place. That's right.
And for the Canadians, there's a lot in Ontario.
Yeah, our half-day events are a great way to get a really good working introduction to the quantum leap system. And really, if you have questions about this, and just like a straight-up answer, send me an email, rick@craigproctor.com, and we'll schedule a time. We'll get on the phone together, and we can definitely go from there.
Perfect. Let's take one more question, Amy, and then we'll call it a day. I know we're about 10 or 15, or we're actually 15 minutes past, but the questions are still coming in. So let's deal with that one more, and then we'll get all the answers to the questions sent out to everyone that has, even if we didn't address them. And again, you have Rick's email just as well if you want to deal directly with Rick, or if you want to call us, talk about the opportunity with our technology as well. So let's take one more question, and we'll call it a day.
Okay. Let's just ask this one here from Murray. It's saying, are folks using auto listers for their ads? If so, what model? And do you use one, Rick?
Yeah, I did use one in the past. In fact, I didn't use a software-driven Craigslist auto poster. I actually used an overseas company. Gave them access to a couple of Craigslist accounts that I had and let them post daily. But I don't use that anymore, and I'm not familiar with any software that works correctly now, again, with the changes that have been made at Craigslist. That's just one of those things you're going to have to research a little bit. I've found the most success comes from a posting service. And if you go online hunting for a Craigslist posting service, you'll find there are no shortages of those out there. And it's very cheap. You know, most of them are done overseas, and it's pennies per ad posted in your Craigslist page. So that's what I recommend. That seems to be the most effective way to continually have ads running wherever you tell your service to run them.
That's great. That's great. Okay, well, we're just about at the end, Rick. Our next training call that we're going to host, another webinar, free training webinar, will be a hot seat training call, Rick, you and I, and we're going to be putting 3 of the agents who just started in their last super conference in Anaheim, put them on the hot seat and kind of share the results of some of the ads that they've run and some of the response, and these are the guys that just started, just came through the half-day training to the conference and ran an ad and delivered some results. And we'll be asking questions on their experience and their results, and that'll be a real good call, and we'll get a lot of good feedback. So, Rick, thanks again for coming on this call and sharing all this nice training on Craigslist and the online classified ads. There's a lot of good stuff that we really didn't go through in past calls, and I think we did a really good job. You did a really good job in articulating the value and the benefit of this content. And thanks again for coming on, and thank everyone who attended this call. We still got over a few hundred people on the call, so it turned out well, and I really look forward to getting on the next call.
Good. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. See you guys.
Thank you.